Reddit stories, relationships. My girlfriend keeps cheating, and once right in front of me. I'm a 25 male that was in an off and on relationship for the last 6 years, it seems. At this point, I've lost track. This is a long one, and I am on my phone, so excuse any typos or misformat. I wanted to write something up after being in mental anguish and turmoil for such an extended period of time. I'm trying to give advice from a very traumatic experience and to possibly receive advice as well. I feel really crazy, like I'm not mentally myself anymore. If you have lurked in this sub, then you will have come to understand the term "the grass is always greener on the other side." In this case, I tried to reconcile and things had been great between I and my girlfriend. She's 26. But for all the time that you spend, it can come all crashing down in a split second. Stay in your own field and tend your grass. Do it for you and only you. Believe me when I say this. In the beginning of 2018, end of January, I had my first D-Day. I had a feeling for several months, and there were many red flags. Out all the time with friends, new guy friends coming over a lot, talking to exes. I was very young and naive. This is the girl that took my virginity after all. I know I wasn't the perfect boyfriend, far from it. I was supposed to have a weekend shift on a Sunday and had woken up to hearing the door open and voices downstairs. I checked the time and noticed I could sleep another hour for work, so I fell back asleep. I'm not sure how much time it had been, but I eventually awoke again to our dog frantically barking. It was the most fearful, agitated bark that I had never heard him use before. I instantly had this really horrible feeling, 10 times worse than the feelings of the red flags over the last few months had made me feel. I got up and went to the bathroom quietly and then slowly walked down the stairs and turned right to the living room. My girlfriend's mother was still sleeping on the couch, even through the barking, due to cancer and having chemo and being so exhausted. I then turned left and just about threw up. There was my girlfriend on her hands and knees with this dude that I had nothing to worry about. He's just a friend that I went to college with and had a date with one time years ago. It's no big deal. Needless to say, I freaked out and started yelling. I kept it civil enough to not get physical with anyone and to pack my things and leave. We all know how it goes after this. She continued to live her life messed up, constantly trying to contact me while still doing nasty things. She eventually had to tell me that she tested positive for an STD and was taking the medication. I have no health insurance, and it's been almost 4 years, and I've been too weak and embarrassed to have an STD screening. I'm sure I have it. After she realized the pain she caused, and after she realized how bad she messed up being with other people and contracting the STD, she of course came crawling back to the one person that always been able to understand her and not use her. I was so naive and young and stupid that I of course tried to reconcile with her. It was a very long and hard process, and I don't think I truly ever felt better. Reconciliation is never the same as before. You will never ever be able to fully trust that person ever again, no matter the efforts. Fast forward to 2020. Last year, directly before Valentine's Day, my girlfriend had went on a trip with her brother to see friends in another state. I wasn't so worried. Everything was going well. I had come out of my depression and had a great job and life was good. During the middle of her trip, her mannerisms changed. The way she would call and text me was different. She started getting really dark, becoming very mean and not herself. She was starting to be exactly the way she was the first D-Day. When she got back from the trip, she showed up at my work after I got off at 6 a.m. We had been fighting on the phone the day before, and I couldn't even understand the half of what she was saying or trying to tell me. It had to do with her brother and friends there doing drugs and so on. So I just figured she ended up taking something and was going off. When she picked me up from work, she was just going off on me about several things I had said, and then started to tell me exactly what had happened on the trip. Her brother was drunk the whole time and had their friends get Molly. So they all got high except for her, probably a lie. Eventually, her brother and the dealer started saying messed up stuff like her and her friends should make out, go down on each other, etc. I told her to stop. I don't want to hear about how she put herself in that situation. I still, to this day, don't know exactly what happened because I went off and said this is why you don't go with your shitty brother to hang out with druggy friends. I'm not proud of what I said. She hit me twice in the jaw and then tripped out, and it was like my first D-Day all over again. I, of course, ended it with her saying she needed some serious mental health counseling and that these things could be avoided. She came back to my work a couple of days later and the cops got involved. She stormed off and surprisingly the cops let her just leave. I woke up the next day to no contact, and because of the way she was acting, I checked the jail roster and found she had been arrested. I went and bailed her out stupidly and she was very grateful, but she couldn't accept the fact that I was still hurt and did not want to be together at that point. She ended up coming back and busting out my room window a couple days later. After all of this, I know it's an absolute circus. I was still so damn dumb that I ended up taking her back once she had cooled off and we discussed things in March 2020. Literally everything was fine. I was working hard, she was going to school, and we were hanging out on weekends. Normal things, as normal as can be in a pandemic, or so I thought. Just this last week, I had a feeling, always that one really deep in the pit of your gut, with heart pains that come alongside with it. You know that feeling. I couldn't shake it, no matter how hard I mentally tried. I broke down and ended up doing something that goes against my morals, but the emotional anguish was too much. I went through her phone while she showered. Needless to say, of course, I didn't find something amazing. The whole time I thought we were reconciling, she was still having emotional affairs with multiple people. There's Snapchat memories of her with a guy directly after my birthday in April. Several message threads that have I love you and flirting on Facebook and text. I could have told you so is the only thing I can keep thinking. And there's literally no one to blame but myself for the last couple of years. I just couldn't go on anymore with the thoughts and the constant digging up of new things. I feel disgusted and disgusting because while I've only ever had sex with one person in my entire life, I've been exposed to diseases and ate other people's bodies. I hope that this can give someone going through this crap some insight. I hope that this is some useful advice to even one person. Do not reconcile with a repeat offender. Duh. Absolutely stop holding on to the idealized person you thought you were with. If they have done this to you, they will do it again and again, with or without remorse. Who really cares the justification of cheating? There's room for reconciliation with couples that have had that one emotional or physical affair. Ongoing and multiple affairs really hurt any chances after that. I'm sorry for the insanely long post. If anyone has any advice for me and how to not be a complete dumbass and break down and go back to this woman, please help me. I'm begging you. Seek support from a therapist and family. I also tolerated a lot, but there comes a point where you must realize you can't be a doormat any longer. They're putting you at risk of contracting a disease, cheating on you, even with you in the same house, literally behind your sleeping bag. They're getting physically violent. This is perhaps the most important. Think about it. No one who cares about you, even a little, would do any of these things to you, let alone all of them. Can you even think of an enemy of yours that caused you this much damage? Someone who isn't supposed to care? If you're staying because of the sex, think again. You may be able to find sex elsewhere, and sex is just a passing thing. All the sex you can get isn't worth the torture of a living hell every day of your life. Even if she hadn't done all these things to you, she's trouble. She's involved with drugs, gets thrown in jail, is disrespectful, and is honestly an embarrassing person to be around. You don't want people to see you're involved with this person any longer. You want to have a respectable image. If you continue with her, even if you're the nicest guy in the world, you'll be seen as a lowlife. Do you want to be seen that way? I personally wouldn't. And this honestly resonates with me too, because I was with a lowlife. She took my virginity, cheated on me, and may also gave me an STD. I had myself checked for the ones I could afford, but there may be others, including herpes. I'm telling you, don't take them back, and definitely don't go after them again. These people will never change, and the longer you stay, the more time you're wasting, and the more you'll regret when you finally decide it's enough. And sooner or later, you will decide it's enough. Trust me. Maybe you decide it's enough after they try to kill you or something, and hopefully they don't succeed. But you will eventually decide it's enough. There's more to life than crazy chicks. There's even more to life than romance. Just don't. You go back because you want to. So you can only leave if you want to. There isn't any secret, unseen force pulling you back into her. It's literally just that. You go back because you want to. How to not want to then? Be a person of quality. Every trait, you have to dial it up a notch. And I mean every trait, including hygiene, physical health, tidiness, responsibility to everyone, self-respect, principles, boundaries, kindness, loyalty, etc. If you have any of these, you would run instead of asking how to not get back with her. And to be brutally honest, you seem to not have any of these qualities. I say that because you did not choose to be healthy. You are irresponsible to yourself and everyone around you by going back to a person that gave you an STD. You have no self-respect because you crawl back when she wants you to. You have no principles or boundaries because you choose to let her do it to you repeatedly. And by the way you put it, you are planning on doing it again. You are not kind, not to yourself. You are not hygienic. So, do you see now how much quality as a person you will improve just by leaving her? This concludes this Reddit Stories Relationships video.